Hello, my name is Rastko, and this is my kitchen.
Why don't you use computers?
I used to use computers. I was very proficient with computers. I used to use them for composing and as well for work, for sound editing. But then I started using children's toys and much more like objects you can touch and make sound straight away, which does not have to go through this programming stage or any stage. It's a very, very sincere approach, like a drum. So with these toys I discovered this way of making music, and then I don't know, I bought my first synthesizer like 8 years ago, and then I started using these old, very old, first Russian analog synthesizers, and then now I use this like 40 years old modular synthesizer, which is, the sound is created by connecting different sources to outputs, and that way you make a sound. In my approach right now, what I'm doing, I'm actually starting the whole performance with a totally empty instrument, like an empty paper, and then by connecting these cables the sound comes, and sometimes I have it under my control and sometimes not. And I really appreciate this way of improvising and performing. I think it's a very honest way of performing electronic music. In these days, of course it's very unusual. But for me personally, I find it, I like to do it like that, and I find it very, very honest, as I said.
How do you prepare yourself for some show?
For this one, for instance, this video I brought actually was kind of inspiration. And I do prepare in the head. I have a patch I'm going to start actually with in my head, and the sound, and then gradually I change it. It all depends of, this time it was the video and the type of instrument. I have a much smaller instrument I use as well. And for that I prepare. That one is much more dynamic. It all depends. It depends from show to show. But how do I prepare? I play a lot when I have time. I play a lot at home. I used to play 2 to 3 hours a day for a couple of years. Just playing sound. We do something called like self-playing patches a lot. That's what I do, where you leave this machine to create its own sounds with some order you give it, but a lot of disorder from the machine. That's what I really like, because then you as a human are not influencing the machine, but it gives you back something which is truly, it's really weird, you know, that you hear some music you could never imagine in your life, because you cannot imagine it. And this is again very much influenced by the electroacoustic music from the 60s and from the avant-garde movement from the 70s. Like from the old BBC workshop and things like that, when people got these electronic instruments and really not knowing what they could do, just experimenting with them, and they came all these like science fiction sounds and all of that stuff. But that is what I like. I like this naivety and playing with that. And I really like the sound.
The chaos can be considered very organized if you look at in a very close way. If you zoom it, like you have chaos, pictures, sound, everything. If you zoom it in some particular point, you can see some organization in it, like individual organization.
But there is a big theory about that. I think it was the 80s or something. But it is exactly, it is that what they saw. But it's also interesting that when you influence that kind of chaos, but it always goes out and then it goes again into this stable micro thing. But that is exactly, and these in-between moments of this going into chaos and coming back to the micro stability are very, very interesting. And that is really something, every time I want to go back to a computer, so one of the ways to make this chaos in systems is feedback. It's either with video feedback or with sound, and this is what I really like in both aspects. But every time I take a computer and try to see if I can go back and work with computers, I do this feedback in a computer, and it kills the computer. You can just simply not do it. Not that it's better, computers are great, I'm not saying that. But this is something which is really, really interesting, because then you go into this, and then you read, about this feedback also in medicine. It's a very interesting, I like that, and then like, is this music? What is that? What I do, But I really don't, I think it is music. Something different. I like that.